Right, there might be others join us, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Today we have Dr. Megan Polyne with us. We are so excited to have her share with us and talk about how the role music has played in her life and its connection to self-care and mindfulness. And she will share her talent with us. So I will hand it over to Megan.
Hello, good morning, everybody, and I am so excited to be here with all of you this morning / early afternoon. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Dr. Megan Polyne, and I am from the beautiful Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, and we are a very musical people. Fun fact, we actually are the only country in the world and the history of existence to create an instrument in the 20th century, which you guys know to be the steel drum. But we call it pan. So it was born out of my country. And so that is something huge, and we hold a lot of pride in it. So music is very ingrained in who we are as a people. They talk about our accents and it sounds like you're always going up and down and up and down. That's what people say when we speak. So we're very musical just innately to who we are as people. But personally, when I grew up in the Caribbean, I used to sing a lot in choirs and I was on stage all the time and it was a lot of fun. But, you know, growing up in a third world country, actually in 2011, we were moved off of the third world country list, so big up, but technically a third world country, you never really believe the role like music could have in your life, officially. You never think that music can be a career or music can be anything other than therapy. And it's huge for that, but there are other opportunities that America has given me. So luckily I was able to come here to study and I've been able to pursue my education. And so now I'm a doctor of music, and people don't really understand what that means. It's like, how can you be a doctor? You're not testing temperatures, you're not doing any of those things. But yes, in fact, you can be a doctor outside of medicine. We have a lot of them on campus. So I'm a doctor of music. So I study all the different types of music. My focus has been classical music. So my concentration has always been in opera. So I know that sounds a little, you know, whatever, old school or artsy fartsy, but really and truly, opera is amazing. The reason that I love opera is because it's one of the only genres that incorporates every single thing. So, you know, when you think about musical theater, you have these singers and they have a band, but then they have microphones, they have costuming, but then they have microphones. They have acting, but then they have microphones. And so opera is actually one of the only kinds of genres where you are completely acoustic. You have to train your voice in a way that you can sing over an 8-piece orchestra and that the person in the back of the auditorium can still hear you. You study languages. So I've studied Spanish, French, German, Italian. I've sung a song in Russian and I've dabbled in Mandarin. I don't speak these things, but I've studied them. And so it has really allowed me to just branch out in a lot of different fields. So I really love opera because it brings together all of these things, amazing costuming, amazing sets, and not to mention heart-wrenching, gut-busting plot lines that you could never imagine. So I really love opera music. So like I said, it has played a professional role. I'm an opera singer by trade, but I really want to talk what I think is probably more relatable to everybody is the personal side of what music can do for you. So music, like I said, opera is my thing, but it may not be your thing, and that is okay. And so I find when I was growing up, and I'm sure a lot of people have these same experiences, my mom knew when anything was going wrong in my life based on what music that I was playing. So if I was in a really emotional mood, or, you know, I just went through a breakup, or somebody mentioned something that offended me, it would be all of this. It would be, you know, probably some sort of angsty kind of rock music. I loved Good Charlotte back in the day. You wouldn't think that from Good Charlotte and Simple Plan to opera, but that was my thing. That was my jam. And she would just know based on what I was going through, based on what I was listening to, that something was up. And I'm sure all of us have that. You know, we have these songs that we put on and it just takes us to another place. So sometimes we have these songs that we listen to and it's almost as if it's the music that like really exemplifies what we're feeling. Some people can't even put into words what they're feeling, but they listen to a piece of music and they're in tears, or they listen to a piece of music and they're inspired, or they listen to a piece of music and it springs them to action. Music has such a role that it can play in our lives, not just for entertainment purposes, but there's so much history and research about the psychological elements in music. You know, think about us as human beings. We literally have a heartbeat, you know, so even humans, we have music inside of us, even though you're not like technically a musician. So don't ever forget that you are innately connected to music, you know. So talking about that personally, I also want to talk about how we listen to music. So I want to open up this discussion really. I'm going to start with how I listen to music and how I'm mindful about what I'm feeling in that. And then we can maybe talk about what we go through when we listen to music and how we know how we process music or how we process what music makes us want to do. So for me, when I'm listening to a piece, I try to be, and I'm trying to be very mindful of it in terms of, it's not just, sometimes it plays a role being in the background so I can do stuff, but then other times it's therapeutic. Like I sit back, sometimes I'm in a dark room and I'm just listening and being really aware of what my body's trying to tell me about how I feel about a certain thing, because sometimes it gives you answers. You don't know how you feel about something, but then you put on a piece of music and you're like, wait, you know, that's for some reason there's this clarity that needs to happen, or sometimes there's not. It really depends on your ability to be mindful in that moment and trust yourself and know what you're feeling. So for me, when I'm listening to music, I would say, I put it on, I'm in this space, and sometimes there's a history of the piece, right? You know, we know what people write pieces that inspire them. Like, what was this person doing when they wrote this piece? So I think back of opera performances, I know what's going on in the plot line. I know kind of, you know, what's happening. What are the instruments involved? What am I hearing? Am I hearing the beat? Am I hearing, you know, is there a phaser going on? What are the lyrics? Are there any words in this? What is this person saying? Those things I try to listen to and then reflect back how I feel about it. So we listen to he was a skater boy, she said see you later boy, like that kind of song, right? And what does that mean to you? You know what I mean? And so I don't want to get too in depth because it's so personal to everybody, but that's how I listen to music. And I ask myself, what does that mean to me in that moment of listening to it? And sometimes it makes me write poetry. Sometimes it makes me draw. Sometimes it makes me want to learn more about this person. So it has a lot of different roles in your life. And so before I like sing a little bit, I just wanted to open it up and ask you guys, like, how do you listen to music? What does it do for you? And again, there's no right or wrong answer because you're qualified. You are musicians. You have a heartbeat. You can say anything wrong. So I just want to open that up and encourage you to feel comfortable sharing that. Anyone?
Well, can you all hear me okay? Okay. I come from an opera family as well and have a lot of musicians, and music's really important to me. But I did learn, I don't know, maybe when I was in college, that lyrics play a huge role for me. And so then when I found out one of my strengths in StrengthsFinder is communication, it made sense, like the words, and that's a huge part of my job is picking, you know, music, songs, hymns that go with worship very intentionally in the words. And so the element of the music is a huge part because it's not, I don't feel the same way about poetry as I do about music, but the words are such a huge part. And then combine that with the music that makes us feel particular ways. And in hymns, you can pick, you know, tunes with the same meter that you can use if you like that sound better with the words. And that is also a really, I think, great part of my personal like spirituality and mindfulness and religious practice as well.
I love that. Yeah, that's so funny that you talk about the words, Becca, because in Geeking Out 5 Seconds in music history, there's this huge debate, right? What's more important, the music or the words? And like, you know, obviously in studying, we realized that there is no more important part because the words influence what the composer wants to write. And then the composer and his music also influence what, you know, when you hear a song, you're like, ooh, that feels like, and then you have to put it to words. So like what came first, the chicken or the egg kind of a thing. And so it's funny that the words speak to you and then other people, it's like, man, I don't know what it is, but there's this chord in this piece that it just brings me, it's a psychological thing, right? Paws are raising and it may not have anything to do with the words. So it's just so interesting how we listen to music and what speaks to us. Anybody else? I saw somebody in the chat say something. Music to psych us up and then yes, exactly. Psyching you up, that energy, that it just the beats, right? The raising, the crescendo, all of those things that gets you geared up. It's such a crucial part, you know. And some people have rituals, like they will not go out on that soccer field until they play that song and they get in the zone, and it's part of their rituals, right? When I was performing, you know, we have to do a lot of psychology because going out on a stage, so many things could happen. Somebody could drop their sheet music, somebody could forget their line, so you always have to be on, and it's a lot. And so they trained us to like get in the zone. And I'll tell you my little secret thing, because I mean, anybody could benefit from this, but I call it my confident bubble, right? And I literally talk to myself and I see it in my mind like it is an iridescent, almost space-like kind of bubble goo. And when I walk into that confident bubble, I'm telling you, you can tell me anything and it will not distract me because I have a goal. And in that confident bubble, no one can touch me and I can't touch anybody. I'm simply who I am in that moment to perform, because you have to psych yourself up. So some people listen to music and you don't want to disturb them before they're going on. So music has a really huge role in psyching people up. Anybody else?
I was deaf when I was young for about 3 years, and I was very young. It was the formative years. And I listen to music very tactically. When I go to a concert, I sit in the front in the middle because I like to feel the sound.
Yeah.
And when I am in my car and I really, really like a song, I'll reach over and touch the speaker.
That vibration, that energy.
Yeah. Vibration is just really important to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I connect music with movement. I love to dance, so just that's has always been very, very important. But it also depends on the context. So I enjoy learning about new places by listening to the music. Before I travel, I try to figure out what dances do they do. How, I mean, it's a very and also I also create playlists for. Before my children were born, I created playlists for them, kind of, you know, they'll listen to kind of what, I know it's weird, kind of, my son's offset, kind of, he was born with Tibetan chants, kind of.
That's amazing.
So anyway, but so that always, but the movement is always, it moves me to kind of move around and enjoy. So I not simply experience it as I'm listening, but my whole body.
Yeah, that's amazing. I also want to share that it's not weird. Like, you know, there's studies that talk about the Mozart effect, right? Children or babies listening to classical music develops their brain. So I would love to know if there's like research about Tibetan music. Who knows, right? You never know, right? I'm sure your kids are brilliant. But yeah, like that. I love that idea of creating playlists. Do any of you find yourself creating playlists for specific situations? So we have the music gearing us up, but like, you know, so for example, Becca, you might see this, like, you know, getting ready to go to church. Like I have a whole church playlist to get you in that mood, to get you in that sync of something. Or, you know, you are maybe going on a long road trip and you're like, I'm going to be tired. I need some music to pump me up. I need some music also to reflect. Maybe I want to answer a question that I'm asking myself at the end of this journey. At the end of this drive, this 7-hour drive, I need to know and make this decision. And I need music to reflect that contemplative mood that I'm going to be in for that 7 hours or whatever. So yeah, anybody creates playlists that way?
So I'm terrible at creating playlists, but I love them and I love the idea of them. So I'm like, you know, like Pandora or something like that, where you can put in the song that you want to listen to and then it like curates the playlist for you. That is huge for me. Usually like when I'm cooking or something like that, I want to have some music on that is, you know, just again, brings that mood. But I am personally not good at knowing, like remembering names of songs or groups or any of those things. So like Pandora and things like that do it for you have been a godsend.
Yeah. Well, we only have a couple more minutes left, but I would encourage you guys like to pay more attention if you can. Like if you can't and you just get swept up in the music, that's fine. But like, you know, the next time it dawns on you, if you can just like maybe take a couple of seconds to pay attention to what you're going through when you're listening to the music. For Elton, it may be, I'm dancing right now. So what is it, this song that I love? Is it the beat? Is it the timpani? Is it the drum? What is it? You know, and be mindful of what your body is enjoying in that music. You know, again, I'm telling you, I have listened to some symphonies where I am like bawling my eyes out. Not a word was spoken, but I'm bawling my eyes out because for some reason there's just this psychological aspect going on with the way that these instruments come together. And you're like, man, these people are geniuses to be able to put together this music, right? Or sometimes you're long, I don't know what SZA was doing. I don't know what, you know, let's get Beyonce was doing when she was writing this, but she was talking to me in this moment. This was written for me. You know, pay attention to how you listen to music. What do you like? What is it making you think of? What is it making you do? Because sometimes it really could, I guess, unearth some things that you don't even know about yourself, or that it might answer some questions that you may not even realize was even posed, you know? So I don't know, it's been a huge role in my life. I'm telling you, if I am going through something, you will find me cleaning, but you would find music blasting. I would be listening to Metallica, totally out of character. Totally out, like I am not that girl, but best believe if you hear that coming from Hellman Hall, somebody come check on me because something is going on and I just need that angsty music to like help me get through whatever my subconscious is battling with. So do you guys have any questions for me? It's short, it's fun, it's something that I love to talk about, but it's also so individual that it's no right or wrong. And so I'm glad that we can come together and just speak about this. But if you have any questions, I'd love to answer as best as I can.
I love Angela's chat about her kids.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Sorry, my kids. Oh, oh, that's so sweet. I love that. Yeah, that is our role too. Like, I'm not saying this is your kids, Angela, but I'm just saying like from my you know, DEI brain, like, could you imagine if a kid, oh, I have seen that on TikTok where parents are sat down in front of a camera and kids play songs and that's how they come out. Have you seen that yet? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that's your kids, but I'm just saying like, that's a role that people are using now. Like they can't physically express it. And this song says exactly what I feel. So mom, dad, listen. That's so cool. That's their way of communicating. Oh, I just got chills, sorry. Okay, well, yeah, so please ask me any questions. I am here. It's not what I do here, but it's so intrinsic to who I am, and I love talking about it. So please reach out. And I'm gonna do plug. The Manchester Symphony Orchestra is actually performing Songs of the Islands. Deborah Lynn is I introduced Deborah Lynn to the composer of this Caribbean song cycle, and they met, you know, e-introductions, and the composer gave her permission to orchestrate these songs. And so Manchester Symphony Orchestra will be making the world premiere of Songs of the Islands, and I will be doing the pre-concert talk telling the audience about the Caribbean songs and why some are in French. You know, people still think the Caribbean is in Africa, but anyway, why some songs are in French, or why some songs don't sound like it's English, but it's actually English, and all of these things. And then I'll also be performing in them as well, with 2 guest performers coming in to perform this world premiere. So check it out, it will be great. I'm very excited that we can bring this to Manchester.
When is it, Megan?
Oh, May 16th.
Put it on my calendar. That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. So thank you guys for inviting me. And again, you have my email in-house. So if you have any other questions or want to continue this conversation, please reach out.
Thank you so much for joining us. Very excited to have you with us. For those of you attending, we are scheduled again in 2 weeks. I cannot remember the date off the top of the 14th of April, and we will be exploring the activist branch. So hoping to look at something related to volunteer work. So we hope to see you again in 2 weeks. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, Megan.
Yeah.